Hallelujah. Bless be Haya, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy set apart name. In Yeshua, the true and living word, we shall be confident. All right. Thank you all for tuning in today. I want to thank you and get that out the way for new subscribers, old subscribers, um, which you're not following me, but you are following the servant, a sister here to assist you all as she serves the Most High, here to be at your service. So we have some announcement and some word to share today. I am so grateful to be before you all again another day, third day of the week. Where has June gone? It's been a really fast month, but hope you all staying hydrated and cool out there. You know what? A good idea to share with y'all. Get you some, excuse me, baby. Get you some peppermint oil. Yes, get you some peppermint oil. And when you get your peppermint oil or peppermint leaves, put them in your cup of water. Talk about refreshing, or add you some cucumbers and lemons. Okay. Something about the cucumber has a way to hold that cold up in there. Come on. So yes, y'all, and always make sure when you get some ice from the ice tray, please be considerate of your fellow brothers and sisters and family members and fill that ice tray up. Don't be rude and forget to fill that ice tray up. All right, you know how it is when you go to get you some ice. Then she got one of them fancy refrigerators that have the ice thing that you put to it and all that. But anyhow, family, I want to start off with, since I ran out and I nearly read all of our scripture cards, I have a book. It says Pray Through the Bible in a Year devotional. And so we could just do it like that. Since it's day 3, we could just, like, it has day 1 like that. We could just read like that from there. Um, for devotional things, for the scriptures, and go through it. It doesn't do dates or months, just does day, you know. But also, I have some announcements. That is, I don't want to let the announcements this time not allow me to read scriptures. At least I did get to upload it yesterday. Okay, I have some stuff I want to share. So let me go to my email. All right. I believe this is the one I needed here. Okay. Watch me warnings word to warn others. Okay. Spiritual food for our soul. Okay. I read that one. I read that one. Okay. Over a dozen vaccines. Okay, I read that one. Read that one. Okay, this one. Here's another one. Let me turn my Bluetooth on and turn my television down to that. Hold on, beloveds. Have my little serene sounds and all that. Soak in his presence. Yes, beautiful scenes and all that. It's a beautiful scenery. Yes. Hmm. All right, brothers and sisters. What's push? Come on, my kid. You want to show mommy that? Can't scratch my dress now. Oh, that's okay. That's not it. I'm looking for the one that it says that. Hold on, bear with me, y'all. It's basically your rights to refuse. This may be it. High five, high five. What's your man, mama girl? Okay, you want some of your doggy treats? I don't know why she thinks sometimes she gotta eat out my hand. She can't eat out her little bowl. She's spoiled. Talking it even rubbed up in the first course. So this is insane for whole bags. Mm-hmm. I'm getting frustrated because I know. Oh, thank you, Father, for reminding me that. Bear with me, beloveds. Bear with me. Sometimes they put some stuff in here and I don't give a John Brown for it. And my doggone mailbox didn't update. Trying to find the one where it says you how to, you know, deny your rights to deny. So it's that one. I believe this is exactly. I think I might have put a star next to it. Mhm. This is the scientists recovered deleted genetic data from. Okay. Hmm. Okay, I read that one too. Father, where could it be? Okay, here it goes. Thank you, Father. There we have it. All right. So it says your rights to decline mandatory vaccines. Okay, we're just gonna say vaccines. All right, we're not gonna give that one because it's not just because they are bringing the COVID-19 out, but honestly, it's just not best to put any vaccines in it because let's not forget that the other stuff has aborted fetal stuff in there, cells in there. Okay. This is action for in Canada. Notice of liability employees PDF printable. Oh, okay. Okay. They're printing. Okay, here we have it.
This information is not intended as legal, medical, or nutritional advice and is for informational purposes only. Vaccine Choice Canada does not endorse or accept responsibility for statements, views, and opinions presented by its guests.
Hi, I'm Rocco Galati, Executive Director of the Constitutional Red Center. It's nice to speak to you again. This newsletter deals with mandatory medical procedure and or treatment and what your rights at common law, under statute, and under the Constitution are with respect to not being able to be forced to undergo any medical procedure or treatment without your expressed informed consent. Now, a medical procedure or treatment is anything that affects your medical health.
Listen, it says express consent. So you know how you ever get little ads in the newspaper? I mean, not the newspaper, but um, on email or any kind of advertisement that says, "Hey, you're zero down on this car and bring your trade in, good credit, bad credit. We don't give a John Brown. Just come on down, right?" Well, the funny thing is, by the time you get down there, you find out it's just a bait. They can find other ways to lure people in to think that, hey, get a check, or you can get this, that, and a third just to get this shot. You gotta think about it. Like, there's never even been any other kind of experiments that I know of that has been like desperately trying to draw you. Either you just voluntarily apply, or you just they don't bother you about it. But this one seems like they're trying to go out their way, like they're trying to propose to a people and have a vow, like it just seems like they go out their way, like the society and the powers that be. We've been dating for some time, and we don't really think we're really feeling them like that, and they want to pop the question, and we're looking, and the question they popping is, can I shoot you real quick? Can I get you in your left jab? Can I get you in your right jab? And we just looking at them like, listen here, sweetie, I just want to be friends. Matter of fact, I don't even want to be your friend because some of your other sideline girls done told me about how you poked them before, jabbed them up, and things wasn't working out too good for them.
Whether physically or psychologically. So generally speaking, The governments have been hiding behind the fig leaf that none of these measures are specifically mandatory, except that if you, quote, choose not to comply, you lose the right to travel, buy food, and any right to medical services. So they are.
Did you just hear what he said? But if you don't comply, you lose the right to travel, buy food, and something else he just said. Not to mention, let me run that back a little bit, sir. Let me just run that back a little bit. Turn it this way. It's always better that way. You ever notice how you try to go back and it goes up? All right.
Informed consent. Now, a medical procedure or treatment is anything that affects your medical health, whether physically or psychologically. So, generally speaking, the governments have been hiding behind the fig leaf that none of these measures are specifically mandatory, except that if you, quote, choose not to comply, you lose the right to travel, buy food, and any right to medical services. So they are de facto compulsory, depending on your situation and circumstances. Now, at common law, before the creation of our Constitution, administering medical procedures without expressed, informed, explicit consent was considered an assault, and liability and damages ensued. So if a doctor or surgeon administered medical procedures or treatment without expressed informed consent, he or she was liable in damages. So you have a common law right and you have a statutory right. And expressed, informed, explicit consent means just that. Number one.
So you have a common law right and a statutory right. Now this is kind of where I stand within myself. I know there are amendments and I know that there are constitutional rights and things like that. But I also know Psalms 103. And the word says, forget not his benefits. And so sometimes when we're discussing things that are opposing us, we discuss the opposer by the rights the opposer gives us. Now that's just kind of like what, I would say is you can't take something from them and then, when they want to bring something else to you, you go, well, according to what you said last week, I cannot have to do this and the third. If they gave you that, they're the same ones that are aware that they gave you that, and they're also the same ones that can change that and alter that, and unbeknownst to you, or even to do away with that. All right? So just keep that in mind. And this is what the word says, that if in Psalms 103, I'm going to really read the scripture because I want it to be just like driven to our minds. Okay. Don't worry, I'm going to share it. I'm not finished sharing. I just wanted to read these. Well, I'm not saying that you're wearing. I'm sure this is important. The word is most certainly important. It says, verse 1, blessed be Yahweh, my soul, and all that's within me. Bless his holy name. Bless Yahweh, my soul, and forget not all his benefits, who forgiveth all thy iniquities, who healeth all thy diseases, who redeemeth thy life from destruction, who crowneth thee with loving kindness and tender mercies, who satisfies thy mouth with good things, so that thy youth is renewed like the eagles. A higher executed righteousness and judgment for all that are oppressed. He made known his ways unto Moses, his acts to the children of Jacob. So he's a redeemer, he's a healer, he's a renewer. He has benefits. He forgives. So as long as you don't have iniquity, which is sin, you follow and obey him. What the Most High can give you is better than what they're offering or what they're talking about. Always make sure you're established in him completely and wholly. So no matter what comes your way, like Exodus 14:14 say, which was my daily scripture today. Exodus 14:14. I thank you. Come on with me down there. Exodus 14:14. And it says, the highest shall fight for you, ye shall hold your peace. Hold your peace. Let's finish letting him talk.
You must be informed of the procedure and treatment before it is administered, including the possible side effects it may inflict. 2, you must express your consent orally and or in writing. And 3, consent must be completely voluntary, asked of your free will, absent of any threats, compulsion, or deceit from the person seeking that consent. Under our law in Canada, this expressed informed consent cannot, and I repeat, cannot be, quote, implied.
So this is Canada law.
As fraudulently put forward by the WHO recently with respect to vaccination.
Stand by. Now, it's quite interesting because just yesterday, the brothers, Watchmen for Israel, basically just let the people know by their video that Canada is now going to do something about, let me see, it was like hate speech could be online, could be punishable by law. Well, we already know what they deem as hate speech. So if Canada's starting it, pretty soon America is going to end up following behind that. Not only that, but also, who's to say they won't pull everybody's videos? They have a certain mark where they'll say, hey, this violated our right. This is a hate speech. Like, we see what they did with Cosby. But let me tell you something. There's nothing that the heathen can do that the word does not warn us of what they are going to do, what they could possibly do, and what will be the outcome thereof. The word already says, behold, the devil shall throw some of you into prison. And you shall be tried 10 days, but be thou faithful unto death. That don't just apply to the apostles back then. That applies to anyone who has allowed themselves to stay on the front line. This is why being a compromising type of mindset person is dangerous right now. Most High's going to spew you out his mouth in this type of time. Because if we are able to stand for him in these moments against people and opinions, or let our stand for him not be swayed or shifted according to people's opinions, what say you then when people are looking for you and they want you because you're saying some stuff? Are you making a stand for the Most High? You're not going to be like Peter, are you? These are things we have to really ask ourselves and say, Father, search my heart. I pray that there is nothing within me that I will find myself not, pursuing you or standing firm on you. Give me a heart that I will not change. And these are the kind of prayers that we need to be praying. He even told the disciples, pray lest you fall to temptation. Pray, brothers and sisters, lest you fall into temptation. Let the Most High make an oath with the Most High, or a vow, or you say, Father, I'm going to stand for this and this alone. So that way, if anything come my way outside of that, I know it's not of you. Receiving people and having standards, it's nothing wrong with receiving somebody, but still maintaining your standards. And you got to receive them according to the word. Not according to goodwill and good tidings. All right. Something else I'm not sure, because he's talking about Canada. We're not in Canada, but it didn't hurt to. So he's basically letting Canadians know their rights to refuse, but at the same time, he said if you do refuse, grand rising, Sister Shalom to you, Sister Raven Gazinio. I don't know how to say that, Gazinio. This is time to go to God with complete yes and honesty, asking him to create in us a pure and clean heart a heart that is loyal unto death. Thank you, beloved. It's quite simple as that. It's like when Yasha was in the last days, he knew that hour. Fruitful, yes, fruitful risings. I love that. That's beautiful. It's like he knew that hour was coming, and he would pray. Even the king prayed. He cried as the hour approached. It was dreadful tears. He was sweating, and it was like as if it was blood. And if you're happen to be in association or following or having followers of those who are not steady in him, they are going to be they're going to be a problem. You got to pray for yourself and the ones around you. It's not the same. Times ain't the same no more, family. So basically, it's saying top Canadians and world doctors reverse course and now say, stop, this is insane. I want to get that one. They're speaking out. But remember, hate speech can, from what I have deemed and seen so far, is they even say it's a hate speech if you call somebody, like, say if a person, I remember when I was getting my CNA, and one of the courses was on, I don't remember the title of it, but it was basically on how should we approach elders who want to identify as, if it's a him, he wants to be identified as a she, or if it's a she, wants to be identified as a him. And it just tells you, the multiple choice questions were like, and how would you do it? And I just didn't answer the question. And I think the problem it was during classwork, because had it been a state exams test, I probably would have failed. But I was just like, listen here. I talked to my teacher and I said, Mr. So-and-so, this is just absurd. Like, it doesn't make sense for the world, or not the world, but it doesn't make sense that I would have to be obligated to take part in something this person wants to do because I work for this company and I'm here to serve this person. I'm not here to serve their perverseness. I'm not here to serve their preferences or opinions. If they choose to want to wear a dress, I'm not, and they want me to help them put that dress on, they're going to have to find somebody else, because I'm not doing that. I'm not helping you put no dress on. I'm not calling you by something you're not. I'm not going to sin against my father. I'm not going to allow no religious rights. It's not a right because it ain't something that you gave or take from me. It's the standard. It's a requirement. It is a command that I will not allow man or woman, company, bosses, or whoever to cause me to go against my father. And if I have to lose a job, I'm gonna lose a job. If I have to be punished or have somebody want to give me a loss, so have your way. Go on right ahead with it. You're gonna waste your time coming for me more so I'm gonna waste my time standing against you. And the teacher basically was like, you have the right to respect that, this and the third, and I can understand where you're coming from. He was like, but some jobs will probably let you go. And I'm just like, I've never valued any job ever or anything in my life more than my father say being at peace with me, or me being at peace with my father. Nothing. What the John Brown can they do? Are they going to be able to push forward a check, pay it forward to the king or the creator when I'm standing before him and I got to answer? He going to judge the dead and the quick. Quicken those who was quickened by the Spirit. He's going to judge us all. Think I'm going to give a John Brown? No, I ain't going to give a John Brown. So I want to click on this link or another for announcements on the top Canadian and world doctors reverse course and now say, stop this insane. So they were on course with the whole pushing of but when they have realized that their health is on the line and things of such and such, because it's some people went to the medical profession, because I know I did when I was in there, because I cared about people and I wanted to help, and was also, a good paying job. So I pursued it. But now they are, because they have that intent and that's their heart, realizing, hey, something's going on pandemically. Let me see what I can do. Probably thinking they're going to get rewarded and want to present this idea. Next thing you know, they come up missing, or they're fired, or they're shut up, or they're told by some backdoor gangsters, hey, someone say don't say this, and you're like, wait, what's going on here? Like, I thought we were here to save lives. I said people are starting to begin to think like everything about their life has been a lie. I thought it was in a profession to help. Here I am in a profession to go along with an agenda. So they're reversing it, the course, and let's just see what this is about. All right.
It's the 11th of June 2021, and I'm talking to Dr. Roger Hodkinson again for the third time with a very important message. Tell me, first of all, for those who haven't heard about you before, what's your experience? What do you do? Who are you?
I'm a retired pathologist living in Canada. I was trained at Cambridge in the UK in medicine, then in pathology in Vancouver, British Columbia. I've been an assistant professor of the Faculty of Medicine at the University of Alberta. I've been chair of the examination committee for general pathology at the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons in Ottawa. I've been the CEO of a large commercial laboratory. I'm currently the chairman of an American company involved in molecular diagnostics, DNA sequencing for early diagnosis of cancers. So, yeah, I'm right in the thick of it. I'm extremely frustrated with what's going on, and I'm sure we'll talk about that.
Well, what I said at the beginning of this interview is you have a really urgent message to get out to the public. So what is it?
This, of course, is an experimental vaccine. It should never have been released. It was never an emergency which predicated the development of the vaccine. And as with all vaccines, there are complications which were predictable with time. But there was never enough time given for the clinical trial, which only lasted 46 months. In particular, complications are now coming out that are very disturbing. The latest one over the last few days, starting off in Israel, is the frequency of myocarditis in young adult males, and getting worse the younger they are.
Let's give the father a round of applause for that. Seriously, let's give the father a round of applause for that. Yes. It started where? In the state of Israel. And who? Young adolescent males. See how the curses come for them? All their little justifications, all their little assignments and little studies and all their little survey, all that little crap they've been doing to stop our men. And when they go to prison, have you ever heard about the things they're putting in their foods and just trying to stop the productions, even by having them in prison? See how the curses are reversing? But these are supposed to be the people of the Most High. I'd like to understand where are the Christians at to start asking some questions now. Don't ask all the questions to the ones who want to abide by the law. Where are all these, what's his name? The funny guy who be messing with like Sakari and all them. What's that guy's name? The funny character, doggone it. Can't remember, but I want to remember it. It's a funny fella. It'll come to me. But anywho, basically the vexers and the agitating ones who want to try to oppose the Most High's word, and it ain't just him, it was other people, even some of our own who would be online and would question and just be a vex and just be a disturbance and a hindrance to those the Most High is sent forth to bring the scriptures out, and even some that the Most High may not have sent, but they're still, getting the gospel out there. And I like to see them now, rather than vexing what we're saying, align with the scriptures we're saying to them, to the ones that's over there. Go over there and ask them some questions. See what answers you get.
In teenagers. Myocarditis is a medical term for inflammation of the heart. The CDC is calling this reality of a large number of these events. We know over 200 events in the United States are recorded. The CDC is calling this an, quote, unbalanced, close quote, realization. Well, you're damn right it's unbalanced. It's the CDC that's unbalanced. Myocarditis is never mild, as they're describing it for the general public, meaning not terribly significant. The heart muscles, the cells that make up the heart muscles, never regenerate. If one dies, they're done. It's not like the liver or the kidney that regenerates. When a heart muscle dies, it's dead and it's never replaced. Myocarditis means a generalized inflammation of the heart muscle. So muscle cells in the heart will be dying. The number is hard to determine, obviously, because the person's still alive. But I can tell you with categorical certainty that myocarditis is totally unpredictable in terms of its long-term consequences. It may only present 20 years later because of the reserve of the heart having been destroyed. We're talking here about cardiac arrhythmias, abnormal heartbeats. We're talking about heart failure, and so on. This is a most worrying development. And of course, it's exactly the kind of complication that would have come out of a normal clinical trial.
How are you?
Which typically takes a number of
Oh
years.
my gosh,
Where'd you
Susan,
go? Where's the
up.
expertise? How can we be sure that what you're saying is something for us to
It's good
take
to
note
see
of?
you.
I'm speaking,
Welcome,
therefore, with
brother.
some authority on this. I'm
Okay,
connected
Malone.
with, on a daily basis, with the top guys in the world.
But there must be thousands and thousands of doctors who completely disagree with you.
Let me assure you that the statistics, when the books are written, will be exactly the other way around. I suspect, and it's impossible to confirm because of the intimidation that colleges across the world are putting on individual physicians, including me, I can assure you that there's a vast number of physicians who do not buy into this idiocy. Physicians who are well trained can see through this immediately as so transparently stupid. It's medical idiocy of the most grotesque degree that's going on. None of the so-called mandates, first of all, is supported by any scientific consensus whatsoever. If there had been one, we would have used it in previous flu epidemics, and we never did. You can't solve the spread of a pandemic with an upper respiratory tract virus by any known means to medical science. It's simply not possible.
What I found interesting is when I've been listening to these doctors, they were actually recommending the vaccination in January and February and March. I wasn't getting any stories about this vaccine reactions, but something shifted, I would say, about 6 weeks ago. So these doctors were recommending it to patients, but they've actually completely changed their minds and said, we must halt this immediately.
Tess Lawrie is the most authoritative person on this, and she's just published a devastating analysis of the whole mess, with the bottom line being exactly that this vaccination of everybody should stop immediately. Remember, please, that the predicate for this vaccine, all these vaccines, was the statement that this was a medical emergency of a most sinister global scale. Well, it never was by any definition. And so if you take away that underpinning requirement, if you take away the emergency, there was absolutely no reason for the development of a vaccine that contravened all the normal safeguards for the introduction of something on such a global scale. There's never been, ever, in medical history, a vaccination program on this scale involving billions of people with the most minor attention to long-term consequences. And I do want to expand on that because the story's not yet over. Look, last time I checked, pregnancy takes 9 months. You cannot conceivably check for fertility issues if you're only doing a clinical trial for 4 to 6 months that never even included pregnant women other than those that got pregnant during the trial, and there were only 40 of them. There are very serious scientific possibilities here for long-term infertility. The studies have not been done. We do know for a fact that the placenta and the testis.
When the Most High said, be fruitful and multiply, what is the enemy's agenda? To stop the fruitfulness. To cause, this is why he wants to make men be attracted to men and women attracted to women. We're exposing the devil here. So if anybody's offended by our speech concerning our stance on the word, and you feel that the speech is hate towards you, then you suffer with insecurity. That's you have an issue. That's the severe problem. Hate, love. You guys have you basically there it goes. Making something that's unnatural be the new definition of love. And then truth be the definition of hate. I'm not with that nonsense. I'm just really not with it. All right. And also, I have something else I was looking at this rising that really was interesting. I can't believe it's not about can't believe. It was intended for me to, but the Father had shown me something this rising as I was just so happened to go on down there again to Genesis 32. And it's interesting that you're here today, brother. And so as I was reading that, because that's the lesson I intend to go into see, it doesn't really matter to me how many different angles, ways, or times we have to go into this. If we cannot see deception, we're bound to be deceived. The King said, do not be deceived. It is not a game out here. This doctor sounds very upset. And he's using all kinds of flavorful, savory words to express his anger. And still in a professional kept way. I guess that's just how he said most ridiculous and all these kind of things. Think about it. He said that it's causing women to have long-term infertility situations. What do you think? And what happened to the baby that is in the incubating stage, in the gestational stage, while in the womb, while the mother does that? Or suppose a father does that and shoots off a decrepit, seed. Because if you can't test the women with the like the baby without also testing men and their semen count, or like you know what I mean? To see how they produce.
A very heavy expression of the receptor for the spike protein, which is being produced in large amounts by the vaccines. We do know that. We also know that during the SARS epidemic, which was a very similar organism, there were reports, a small number, but then it was a small number of people that came down with it, obviously. But we do know that during the SARS epidemic, there were reports of orchitis, which is a medical term for inflammation of the testes. On the male side of fertility, there are serious scientific grounds for worry. Not proven. I'm not being a scaremonger here. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. Di-da-di-da, right? I take vaccines myself. On the female side, there's equal concern because it comes out of the obscure Pfizer submission to the Japanese regulatory authority that the vaccine particles, the tiny lipid nanoparticles that are part of the vaccine, locate very heavily in the ovary. Now, this was a rat study, but it still showed heavy localization, most unexpectedly, of these vaccine particles in the ovary. If that is in the literature, I'm not making this up, it's there in the literature. If it's in the literature, it needs to be excluded as a possible long-term complication, and you can't do that unless you check fertility issues over a number of years.
So I need to think about my audience and the people that are going to be watching this. Do they say something that lots of celebrities and even journalists are getting behind here in the UK? Is it safer to wait, or is it wait till the phase 3 trials are over 2023, or is it?
What do celebrities know about this? They've got nothing between the ears. For God's sake, get a grip on yourselves. I'm telling you that this is a very serious problem. You, the general public, the politicians, the people driving the bus, get a grip on yourselves.
We don't know.
This is serious medical science, and you're mucking around with billions of people's health for the most tenuous of reasons, and it's totally and utterly unacceptable. When it comes to injecting this stuff into the arms of children, I call that state-sanctioned child abuse of the most monstrous scale. It is utterly unacceptable, and it should stop immediately.
So in Canada, what's happening with the kids?
In my own province of Alberta, as of 2 days ago, when I last checked the statistics, 1/3 of all teenagers have been vaccinated with the first shot. This is a matter of supreme
That's the next generation.
urgency. We could be seeing the most catastrophic long-term consequences, quite apart from the blood clots that are in the brain and the legs, quite apart from fertility issues, myocarditis, serious long-term possible complications of this utter madness. If you're going to introduce something on such a global scale without the appropriate precautions of a normal clinical trial, you as government should be obligated, before that happens, to put in place a most meticulous monitoring system to sample people who've been vaccinated, to determine the true incidence of these complications. That has not happened. They're not just culpable in what they're introducing, they're culpable in terms of not monitoring what they're introducing because it was introduced as an emergency. And furthermore, if it is in fact an emergency, as they claim, which it's not by any stroke of the imagination, it's merely a bad seasonal flu, which is unfortunately killing elderly people in greater numbers than the flu. That's it. But if it is an emergency, and therefore you're introducing this insane vaccination program, then by the same token, the dogs should be taken off individual physicians to allow them to prescribe agents that may prevent the disease and certainly may make the disease less severe if it develops. And I'm talking here about ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine.
Roger, I have to ask you, there's a children's programme here on the BBC called BBC News Round, and there's doctors who say the vaccine is safe, and they're encouraging people to take it, but they are, in bigger numbers than you guys. Who are these doctors if they're wrong? Who are they? What are they talking about? Are they mad? Was somebody blackmailing them? They have kids.
They are culpable of extreme medical malpractice. There are two underpinning ethics. First, do no harm. We're seeing that play out in spades now with all these complications. And the second one, with respect to vaccination, is informed consent. There is no informed consent because people are not being told that this is unsafe. The billboards say one word, 4 letters, unqualified, safe. That's a contortion of medical language. It's Orwellian.
How is it possible that so many doctors are very, very happy to promote this vaccination for children and say it's safe? How is that possible?
You're only hearing the ones who are kowtowing to government and the colleges because of their positions in academia and the regulatory bodies. These are people who simply want to tick off the box on their CV to say that we had this position and that position. And they only got to those positions because they were always brown-nosing the person ahead of them.
They vaccinated their own children, some of them.
That's their own decision to make. What I'm saying is that these idiots in our profession are merely trying to comply with the demands of the people around them or above them. The people who you should be speaking to, of course, are the silent majority of physicians who are being intimidated brutally into silence. These colleges, these regulatory bodies, are there to do one thing and one thing only, to protect the general public from us. That's their job, to make sure we're not pedophiles, we're not having sex with our patients, we're not cutting off the wrong leg. That is their job. So their job should extend to demanding of government, pounding the table.
So basically, he's a man with an upright mindset, basically saying they're brown nosers, they're having sex with their patients, they're just people of no moral conduct. And so they're willing to be the ones that see, let me tell you something. Like, say if there's a person, I'm a crook, and I want to go to a medical place of profession to get some medical loose cannons to push my agenda. I'm not going to go to the ones who say, okay, can you give me an overview of your workers? And so this one never has any trouble. They're always on time to work. And this person has a really good review. This person is reliable, things like that. This person, we found some things in their substance. They're a really good worker. They're really good at this job. We don't want to let them go. We give them some warnings. But they're like, okay, that's first one I'm interested in. Okay, this one, he He's very flirtatious, but that's just how Mr. So-and-so is. He's been. The point of the matter is, I knew it. Lord. Say. So basically, they go to these people who do not have righteous, upright, moral conduct code or integrity. They're the weak links. And the ones who do, he says, are the ones being brutally silenced. He said, we're not even pedophiles, which means, hello, there's a party that they're having behind closed doors. They probably going down there to someone's house and that annual gathering. He's telling the doggone truth.
Saying, why are you doing this? It is medical negligence of the highest order. It's causing more hurt than benefit, and there is no informed consent. Instead of that, instead of being neutral and independent and protecting the public, they are the enforcer of government.
How is that possible? You're talking about hundreds and hundreds and thousands of doctors. How is that possible?
Because these colleges and regulatory bodies, as I said, are populated by do-gooders, by people that just want to tick off the box on their CV. They're not representative of medicine at large, not at all. You speak to the average physician, they don't have a very high regard for their own colleges because they consider the colleges to be oppressive. Look, where are these colleges? Where are these colleges when the chips are down? They're not banging the table with governments on COVID. Where were they on marijuana? You speak to an average physician on marijuana. No one's in favor of it, really. They just saluted in government's general direction. Where are they on tobacco? Tobacco is killing 500,000 people in the United States every single year. A public health crisis of as big a proportion every year as COVID is, if you believe their death certificates, which of course are exaggerated. These colleges have become woke. They're not protecting the public good anymore. They're simply the enforcers of government.
It's more serious than that. What you're saying is they are supporting.
First, what I can say is I don't like the way she can't shut her mouth and listen. She has a problem. He's in the middle of communicating. She just goes, not only does she interrupt, but she has a loud, irritating voice. I couldn't listen to her for a second. I couldn't. But thanks to ignorant people like this who get people like him, he's really helping us. Even if she just doesn't get it, how could that be possible? How could that be possible? It goes to show you that a person could be talking to you with wisdom and knowledge, and not everybody out there is going to grasp it the same. She's just going to be one saying, how could it be possible? How could it be possible? Masses rule rather than truth is truth. There's hundreds of doctors. What does the John Brown, does that matter? The Bible says that the wicked always encompass the righteous, therefore wicked judgment do go forth.
A procedure and a program that harms children. That's very serious.
Very much so. And that is despicable. It is medical negligence of the highest order to be agreeing with something that government wants you to do that you know is harmful.
Do they actually hear your voice? Do they know your voice? Are you messaging them? Are you emailing them? Because it's not on the BBC, it's not on Facebook, it's not on YouTube. Do they know what evidence you're presenting?
Guys, we know what level of woman she is, right? Spread the news. Tell them. Guess what? You think he doesn't know what kind of people he's dealing with? If it's the bad cop and the good cop, do you think the good cop is going to tell the bad cop? Now, sometimes, yes, the good cop does say to the bad cop, that's wrong. But when the good cop sees how the bad cop does what he does, it has to be wise and tell others who's willing to listen, because the bad cop's not going to listen to the good cop. So in other words, the good doctor and the bad doctor. The bad doctor, once it knows that it's a good doctor, it could do something to the bad doctor to have it be, slandered in the media, or could possibly be killed, bring harm to its life. This is an elderly man. So he's been around the way for some time. he's seeing some things and he's like, this isn't right. I would assume that wisdom probably told him, don't say anything to this one. Don't say anything to that one. Find a creative way to get this message out. It's not on the Facebook. It's not on the news. Silly. The same government that's trying to cause this man to do these things in his profession and other doctors who are biting the bait are the same ones that run your media. And they're the ones that tell you what they put out, and what they don't. Silly woman.
No, I mean, the censorship, the worst censorship, of course, is with physicians. That's the ultimate resource of trust and reliable information for the general public. But the other two sources you're well aware of are being equally censored in a brutal fashion. The media, the mainstream media, of course, is not running anything, at least in Canada.
He goes, of course. Like, did you miss that part, madam? Did you not get that? Where have you been? Maybe you were watching makeup videos and I don't know, The Real, The View, stupid stuff. While the people out here in the real world, we're getting real messages across. He probably's thinking in his head, you idiot. Just like he called the other ones. I like these kind of people's accents. They make me laugh, especially when they're mad. They make me laugh.
The Prime Minister has bribed them into silence. He's actually giving them billions of dollars to support their activities. And of course, you don't bite the hand that feeds you, do you?
What is your media strategy, Roger Hodkinson? Who can you speak to, and what do you intend to do? Because this message sounds urgent.
The way I describe it is, you can't confront a juggernaut with a pea shooter. There are lots of terribly well-meaning physicians and scientists that I'm relating to on a regular basis, as I described. But even they, with their organizations, there must be, right now, as we are speaking, investigative journalists who are going to be coming out with a torrent of the most...
You talk about...
I'm talking about books.
I love how you said I'm talking. Basically, I'm talking, and I'm going to tell you what shut your mouth up. See, those kind of people in the world today goes to show me that she may not be ignorant. She can't even respect the person who's giving her this kind of information. And then she's like, I'm talking about. Ugh. Ugh. She can't shut her doggone mouth up. Look at her face expression. Hold on, I need to make this big. Make this big. Okay, darn, it won't let me. But I want you to see her face. Turn this bright extra light off. Remember, body language, facial expression, it tells you a lot about a listener or person. I have to turn it this way because it seems like if I do it straight, you can't see it. If I slant it, you can see it. She's got a face, mind, like, yeah, she's got a face like, and only that, but when he was talking about they're not going to bite the hand that feeds them, she laughed and shook her head no. Like, yeah, whatever. I don't find any, I think there was a moment to drop a smirk. You could assume and say, oh, she was probably laughing like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that, like a nervous chuckle, but no, that's not what I'm getting. Because if she's really giving respect to the speaker on what he's saying and she's really absorbing it as if it's true to her, not in a skeptical mindset, she wouldn't be interrupting him. And maybe you could even say, oh, well, maybe it's just so much for her. Maybe it's nervous and she's so, when you're interrupting someone when they're talking, that shows you're not listening to them. You're just busy wanting to say what you want to say out your mouth. That's all that is. And if you're not listening to this, what is the signs before they become doomed? They can't simply hearken. What was the sign before Jacob went into captivity? We could not hearken to the voice of the Most High. It's hard-headed people, just for crying out loud. This is, as a woman, this is one of the major things that needs to be worked on. Just learn to shut up sometime. It would take you a bar further. My teacher would tell me in our class, he would say, hold your questions to the end, because maybe your questions might get answered during the due time. In the meantime, just save your question. And if you can't remember your question, or maybe the question's something on what they said, write it down. That goes to show you that you're listening. And if you do have a question that's written down, he may answer your question. And that it's like, to be an educated speaker, you got to be an educated listener. You have to have the way to know how to shut your mouth up. It's so important. I can't express it enough, because she's frustrating me. She's frustrated me to see how she just not only will she not shut her mouth up, but showing facial expressions like, yeah, whatever. Don't come over here playing.
You can't suppress books. There will be books being written as we speak for the widest distribution on Amazon that condemns, in the strongest possible terms, this entire mad episode in human history. And heads will roll.
Oh, she is disrespectful to the fullest. He's talking about books, and she gets a message on her phone, and she looks down and smiles at it. Oh my gosh. Rude. Rude, 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 rude. I don't think in college they have a course on manners. But imagine this world today, for you educated snobs out there. I'm not saying she's educated, because she doesn't read me as an educated woman. She reads me as a funny little, simple little lady in her house who uploaded a camera, requested for him, who was probably sent by someone else to get him to speak on where his stance is. There's no telling where this man is today, or what could have happened with this man. But she literally looked down at her phone and was smiling like, oh, a message.
Be blood in the gutter. And that is going to happen, in my opinion, very,
when he said
very
blood in the gutter,
soon.
she smiles.
Because something as crazy as this, something as so gigantically mad, cannot be suppressed. The truth will out. And when it does, so many people,
And when he
they will be
says the
seen
truth
for
can't
what
be
they are.
brought out, she shook her head no and smiled and looked over to the side. I'm saying these kind of things so when you are a person with truth, with wisdom, knowledge, and you're talking to somebody else and their body language is not receiving you, trust and believe me, they're not receiving you. You're talking about something deep and they're off somewhere else in the la la land. Or you might not even be talking to them. You just talking and they're in your presence and they're not paying you no mind. For crying out loud. It's I don't know how to make this more, but express this any more clearly. But he needs, don't think, I know what I should it out. He's not peeping it. A lot of elders, they know how to read. And ain't just elders. But what gets me is that she knows how to smirk and smile and shake her head no at certain points of what he's saying. It's a shame I can't put this on the TV. I couldn't expand it. And all it lets me do is make the speed of the message fast or slow. But she disgustes me. She absolutely I'm going to share the link in the video. That's what I'm gonna do. I am just because guess what, family? Um, you call yourself relaying message to somebody and you find that they're not hearing you, save your breath. Save your breath, save your breath. Even if they come with a 1% of contrariness, that's the sign you need. Just say, guess what? I'm gonna respectfully just, go ahead and dismiss myself, or don't let them see it coming. Sometimes I just fall back and they won't even know I'm falling back from it. How you doing? They call you, oh, hey, so and so, just still, educate myself on wisdom. How you been? I've been in wisdom. How you been in knowledge? Being wise, staying away from fools. You know how that goes. When you say something like that to them, it's either going to be an awkward silence, or they're just really going to be like, try to change the subject or talk about something stupid or off. So they do right and act, you know what? I don't have the time. Or simply just don't answer their phone call. She's really like as if a teacher is coming to the cafeteria table to tell one of the students, hey, we have a big test tomorrow and you weren't in class and you weren't doing your work. I just want to know if everything's okay, but you should have at lunchtime. You're hanging out at the table with the kids, or at gym time. You're at your practice for your game, your sports, but you weren't showing up to class. And your coach has gotten some pull and rank with certain people where they're allowing you to still play. I'm realizing you're failing my class. What's going on? And they're just like, whatever. This man's talking about somebody's lives out here, people's health, and she's acting nonchalant. Majority of her questions were interrupting and opposing, or coming from a naive. I can't stand those false naive ones. Stop acting like you don't hear what this man's saying. Stop pretending to be dumb, or are you dumb? Like my teacher would say. She would say, don't tell me they're acting dumb. She said, matter of fact, stop acting. Because are you dumb?
The emperor has no clothes. These colleges will be massively changed in terms of how they address the public.
So she's looking at the phone, which is probably her handler. You don't hear the phone going off, but I saw the reflection of the light from the notification from her phone on her face. And she looks down at her phone, she smiles, and she comes back up and she's showing facial expression of, I received the contrary message that was given to me by the phone. And I know some of y'all probably watching me like, wow, that's how she reads. That's how I read. Ain't nobody just looking at what's in front of them. Don't nobody just drive with one mirror. You got the side mirrors and the other mirrors.
Their obligation to the general public. So many people are culpable here. Politicians, regulatory bodies, media, physicians, individual physicians. Everyone is in that group is culpable of the most terrible crime ever committed on humanity. It's on that scale. And I'm not exaggerating here. I've got my head screwed on. I know exactly what's going on.
Boom.
And it's absolutely tragic.
Ooh! It stopped right there. Right when he said it's tragic, right before he says right at that part, she shook her head and opened her mouth. Her funny looking red lips. Notice her body language spoke before her mouth opened up. She shook her head, then she had to speak. I'd love to know where the rest of that message is. AwakeCanada.org. Let me look for that. I don't even know her name is. Let me play it again to see if I can get her name.
It's the 11th of June, 2021, and I'm talking to Dr. Roger Hodkinson again.
Roger Hawkins. Let's do interview. There we go. Okay. Dr. Roger Hopkins mutant DX liquid biopsy. Okay, that was 3 years ago, 7 months ago. No, Toronto woman develops Bell's palsy after COVID-19 vaccine. I can't find it. I'm gonna have to speak with the source of where I got this from to to get the full video on this. Yeah, but see if I can share the link with you all. It's not even giving you the option to. Let me see. Oh yeah, go back. Bear with me, beloveds. I'm going to share it with you all now so that you all can watch from yourself and just pay attention to those. It's not just enough for us to study and pay attention to those who give us information, but pay attention to the ones who reject it. Pay attention to those. Pay attention to those. Them kind of people there, they can't come around me. Get the whole H away from me. I can't deal with a fool. I can't. I can't stomach them. Not only a fool, but a foolish a people following person. Like, all right. So now let's get to the next thing I want to share with you all today, and this is another perspective concerning something. Hold up. I'll make sure I dealt with all announcements before we're going further. Check from over here. Okay, let me check my email. Make sure there's nothing else I missed that I want to share with you all. Just give me a moment, beloveds. So it said, no, that wasn't just a regular doctor. That was a top doctor. So she didn't even give him that mutual respect as his reputation in Canada. Looking like with her stringy looking hair. It may not matter to some, but I'm just looking at her like, but who the John Brown is you? Oh, you're the point of view of those who are scoffers. I see. Scoffers who be like, I ain't going for that. There's got to be a way around it. Oh, what's this? Let me check that out. See what we have here. Inventor of the mRNA vaccine, no force experimental shots. I'm going to plug, see if I can plug this into my laptop so that if I want to show you, I can show you. I have a better right than my phone. All right. And then we're going to go to something else. I have another perspective on. Just want to make sure I cross every T and dot every I. Oh, I gotta unplug the Bluetooth from my phone. What's going on here? The volume's up.
science-based.
Oh,
They're not right now. They're
I'm gonna start
it's
over.
kind of a little bit of the seat of the pants, and that I really object to. So you ask me, do I think the risk-benefit ratio analysis is not being done? So that's one of my other objections, is that we toss around these words risk-benefit analysis.
All right, let me tell you what this is about. So this video is by Dr. Robert Malone, inventor of the mRNA vaccine technology. The inventor of mRNA vaccine, no forced experimental shots. All right.
Casually,
Brought to us
as
by
if it's very deep
InfoWars.
science. It's not. Normally, at this stage, the CDC ACIP would have performed those risk-benefit analyses. They would be data-based and science-based. They're not right now. It's kind of a little bit of the seat of the pants, and that I really object to. So you ask me, do I think the risk-benefit ratio is appropriate for this age cohort? The truth is, I can't really say, but certainly I can say that the risk-benefit ratio for those 18 and below doesn't justify vaccines, and there's a pretty good chance that it doesn't justify vaccination in these very young adults.
Well, I'll be honest with you, folks. I'm completely freaked out. I'm completely blown away. The world government's now here. They're actually depopulating everybody in front of me. I have articles founting out like a fire hose of people dead and dying all over the world by these so-called vaccines. And then you have the top scientists in every field saying these are poisonous, these aren't vaccines, these are deadly, don't take them, including the discoverer and the inventor of mRNA technology on Tucker Carlson last night. And I turned the TVs and stuff off by 7 o'clock last night. I didn't watch Tucker last night. I usually watch him early in the morning. And I already knew all that, but I watched it. It was just like, it's sick to sit here and just talk about this at a certain point. And I'm not calling for action because they've set it all up where any action we take, they call terrorists. But they're the ones killing us. They're the ones terrorizing us. And I am fundamentally freaked out. I'm not going to sit up here and act like a tough guy like Austin or Millie or all these assholes. I'm a real person. And this stuff really affects me. And I can't just sit around and kiss the system's ass and act like, everything's okay with all this evil going on. I fundamentally am very upset, and I pledge to God and everyone else that I'm going to fight as hard as I can, and I'm going to rack my brain to figure out how to stop these people. People pat me on the back all the time, and I really, really appreciate it. But I want you to understand something. Don't put the horse in front of the cart here. Don't put the wagon in front of the mules here. If you weren't supporting us, if you weren't praying for us, if you weren't...
Okay. So, we don't have to, no, I'm not pushing, I don't, first of all, I don't really care. I don't really care what your possible, why is she sharing that? It's about information. At the end of the day, information is what's important here. And the point is this, guys, it's poisonous. I think I've shared enough by now. And if there's anything else that comes, I won't stop sharing. They can tell me it's terroristic all they want to. A terrorist is not going to be able to punish someone for doing the very thing that is supposed to be what they deem as terrorists. We're not supposed to fear man, we're supposed to fear the Most High. So we don't find out what the wicked are doing to allow fear to succumb us. I think the Most High, it's not fear, that it's actually alarming, and it's pathetic, and it's sad. But this is all part of prophecy. It didn't say in this kingdom things were going to be lovely. If you're expecting for this kingdom to be comfortable, this kingdom to stay and la 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 and happy and joyful in this kingdom, then you have received your portion. You're letting the Most High know that this is your rest. This is not our rest. I'm not saying you can't have sound mind, things of such, but We're supposed to be seeking the kingdom, beloveds. And by seeking the kingdom, we have to make sure that everything we're doing for ourselves is not going to allow anyone out there to undo. We cannot establish and build and let these devils come and tear it down. And when they see you have no standard, and when they see that you're foldable, they're like, oh, you're going to be a piece of cake. We got to invest in prayer and fasting just for strength to stand against them. It's not just easily given. Now, I want to go on down here to Genesis. Something else I want you all to take heed of. Now, let's just all agree here. Most High, which he has, sent the prophecy to the mother of Jacob and Esau and said to her that the one shall be stronger and the young elders shall serve the younger. Then that means the Creator was well aware of him, right? Right. He wasn't a stranger to the Most High, right? Right. Where is it at? Where he's wrestling with the angel and it says, what is your name? Let's start over here at verses 25. When he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And he said to him, let me go, for the day breaketh. And Jacob said, no, I'm not going to say he's, I'm going to address who's talking. And the angel said, let me go, for the day breaketh. And Jacob said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. And the angel said unto him, what is your name? And he said, Jacob. Here it is. First time we ever hear about Jacob wrestling anybody, who was it? Esau in the womb, correct? Did you ever hear about Jacob wrestling somebody that was righteous and somebody that was upright and somebody that was for his well-being? Here it is. This angel don't even know his name. Don't you? Hasn't it been written? Every time the Most High sent his angels to his people, they know their name. Just for example, when Daniel, and the angel said, oh, Daniel, greatly beloved. Of course, they got to know your name. If they're being sent the Most High for an assignment to you, they're going to be like, I got a delivery for, what's your name? Oh, Sally. All right, Sally, all right. Here it is. Jacob is asking for a blessing from something that don't even know his name. Let's proceed to read. And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob. Now, not only this is an angel. He's asking an angel for a blessing. The angel's changing his name. When the Most High gave a blessing, he gave covenant. He established covenant. He gave command, statutes, his judgments concerning them. But this is a wrestling match. And it's been told to us that Jacob is wrestling the Most High. Yet the Most High don't even know his name. Then we'll tell him, your name shall no more be Jacob. But throughout scriptures, Jacob's name is still mentioned. And y'all looking at me crazy? And y'all think I'm bugged out? Or I don't even know what you think. And it really does not matter to me. But the important part here is simply question this account. What kind of angel was this? Because we know the Most High's righteous angels are not wrestling with his children. We know that Jacob lightly esteem the word. It says that in Deuteronomy 33:15 in there. Let's go there. No, it's 15 at 32:15. You got to be able to follow this. You have to see it, beloveds. Because if you call yourself by Israel, you are acknowledging the so-called blessing. And the reason I say so-called is because notice after the blessing was given, what acts did the children do? The Most High said, I was with you when there were no strange gods. But what did the acts of the children do? Had strange gods amongst them. The northern tribes and the southern split. The northern house was called Israel. The southern was called Judah. What was the northern house famous for? Idolatry, strange gods. Verse 8, let's begin. When the Most High divided the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Jacob. I'm not saying that. For our highest portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. The Most High's angel this angel has made itself to be a liar, because the angel said, supposed to be representing the Most High, your name shall no longer be called this, but yet his name is still called that. Throughout scriptures, right here, Deuteronomy, Jacob's the lot of inheritance. So the lot of inheritance is tied to Jacob. I've said this example before. I'm going to say it again. If someone leaves something to a will for somebody, it's going to be addressed to that person by their name. Even if they get their name changed, they have to still prove they are that person by that name. So changing your name is changing your story. It's changing who you are. If Jacob was promised inheritance and his name changes, and even say he wrestled the angel or he wrestled the Most High and prevailed to get a blessing. Listen to that. That does not make sense. Where else in the Bible did somebody wrestle with the Most High and was blessed? Show me that. Where is the precept story for that? Where we can wrestle with the Most High or his angels that come on account of him and tell the angel to bless us. The angel tells you, let me go. You tell the angel, I'm not letting you go unless you bless me. Angel don't even know your name. And it's telling you, let me go before the day breaks. I'd like to know the reason why I said, let me go before the day breaks. Yeah. But guess what? There's a story here behind Jacob that precepts a story that if people don't follow and pay attention to, they're going to miss it. Let's follow along. We're in Deuteronomy 32. He found him in a desert land in a waste highland wilderness and led him about. He instructed him. He kept him as the apple of his eye. As an eagle stirreth up her nest, flirteth over her young, spreadeth abroad her wings, taketh them, beareth them on her wings. Welcome to you, Sober Man 504. It's good to see you. How you doing? Forgot to greet you. So Ahiah alone did lead him, and there was no strange God with him. So you have to understand, basically, when the Most High was with him, when the Most High is with us, do we operate in fear? No, we do not. Do we operate in panic? No, we do not. You know when the Most High is with you. And if there's times you doubt, he has no problem reassuring you. He even did it with Gideon. He said, well, no strange God was with you. So when strange gods are with you, obviously the Most High is not with you. Let's read along. He made him ride on the high places of the earth, that he might eat the increase of the fields, and make him to suck honey out of the rock, and oil out of the flinty rock. butter of kin, milk of sheep, with fat of lambs, the rams of the breed of Bashan, and goats with the fat of kidneys of wheat. Thou didst drink with the pure blood of the grape. It said the Most High did all this. So what other blessing would he have a need of? What other blessing did he need? Most High was with you, you was good. If you're asking something for a blessing, you obviously the Most High's not with you. You're probably suffering from fear, doubt, lack. How do you go from the Most High being with you to you seeking an angel for a blessing? Even if we know the book Deuteronomy is after Genesis, you got to wonder right then and there. Because the story prior to that, he trying to seek grace in the eyes of Esau. He needs Esau to be at peace with him. Whenever the Most High said to the angel, sent the angel to Rebecca to say, hey, or Rachel, I'm sorry, I'm not sure, one of them. When the Most High said to say to the angel to tell her, listen, the elder gonna serve the younger. It didn't say, and as long as the younger and the elder get along, the elder should serve. No, it didn't say that. The statue of the elder serving the younger is not upon the younger approving it. It's the word of the Most High. And the word of the Most High simply is, the elder shall serve the younger. That's just the bottom line. And to this time, it's like when you got something going for yourself. David suffered it, but you know what David didn't do? David didn't allow Saul's evil to make him say, well, you know what? I want to do exactly everything I can to make Esau accept me. He knew the Most High anoints him. He understood what was going on with Saul. Saul was just angry right now because it wasn't even so much him. It was like he was angry with the Most High. And so David didn't allow that to make him feel like, you know what, I'm going to take him out because he's coming for me. He's like, if I was in his shoes, this is the mindset of an upright one. It couldn't be easy when the Most High takes his presence from you. And I know if he can take his presence from him, he can take his presence from me. So I'm going to let compassion and I'm going to let reverence and respect sit where it's at. Because though the Most High took his presence from him, that's still the king. Now, this is the mindset of Jacob. Now, that's my older brother. I know I did what I did to get this blessing, but it was already said. It was already written in the heavens. Jacob is going to be the one the Most High favors. So it's like favors guilt. Jacob feeling guilty about receiving what he's doing. That's insulting to the Most High. If the Most High favors you, if he anoints you, if he chooses you, if he has called you, it doesn't matter what nobody else feel about that. You don't got to sit around here and make sure you it's okay if I speak this word. I got a word for you. The Most High, it's a woe word, but can I speak? No, listen here. The Most High said this, that, and the third. And that's what time it is. But doesn't mean that sometimes it's always easy to give those words either. Perhaps to be somebody that, darn, you were fond of, you were close to. So you look at, and it didn't dawn on me until I read yesterday, Genesis 12 on down. When I was reading and I was watching how Abraham, see what I'm saying? You got to be able to follow the forefathers' pattern. When Moses came, let's go over here to Genesis 12 really briefly. Right? And verse 7, it said, and Ahiah appeared unto Abram and said, unto thy seed will I give this land, and there builded he an altar unto Ahiah. He built an altar unto Ahiah. Ahiah appeared, he built the altar unto the Most High. An angel appears, and there's not an altar built, but there's a place named. Territory, inheritance. Who conquered places and named the lands after themselves? Did not the wicked do that? Here's another quote. Where in the Bible, he said to Abraham, I'm going to give this place. He didn't say, and this place shall be called Israel. Now, guess what? Just like David prophesied concerning the king before he came, and Abraham saw the Messiah, Would it have made sense if he was going to change Jacob's name to be officially Israel and give acknowledgement to him as the prince with the Most High and favor with the Most High? Wouldn't he have said to him, and this place shall be called this, that, and the third after your son or one of your descendants? There's nowhere in the Bible where the Bible will tell you it's in the place we came from was called Israel. But you'll hear people say, we trying to go to Israel. Where is that at though? He promised to Abraham land. He told him the markings of where it starts to how far, to the sea coast, everywhere your feet touch. He didn't give it a name. But these are things people don't think about. Abraham built an altar unto the Most High, Ahiah, who appeared unto him. And there he called upon the name Ahiah. Jacob, wrestling with some angel, though don't even know his name. And Jacob doesn't know his name either. So it didn't appear to him and tell him what it was or who he was from or who he was sent of. Because whenever the angels of the Most High, the righteous angels appear, you already know where they're from. You already know. Let's get back to Jacob on here in Genesis 32. Verse 27, he said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, and the angel said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For a prince has thou power with God and with men. So is there not a God by the name of Isis? Is there not a deity by the name of Ra? Is there not a deity by the name of El? Are those deities the Most High? No, they're not. Does not the devil look out for his children? Do not all the wicked ones, are there not? He has the kingdoms, right? So in those kingdoms, is there not inheritance in that? Is not Queen Elizabeth? Do she not have power with the devil and with men? Does not the Pope have power with the devil and with men? The children of men? But did Jacob need that blessing if the Most High was with him? When the Most High was with Jacob, he didn't lack nothing. And it's mentioned that he was with him when there were no strange gods with him. But this angel has now named him according to, sealed him or assigned him unto a prince of Israel. So prophetically, that blessing actually cursed our nation. And this is the reason why our people begin to go whoring and serving Isis, Rael. Because the enemy has tried to do the very things that the Creator has done and change our inheritance to be that of inheritance of the wicked ruler of this world, rather than by the promises of obedience by the Most High and His word, according to righteousness. He requires obedience, not sacrifice, not a wrestling match. He don't even need you to understand. You just do what he tells you to do. And Jacob asked, verse 29, asked him and said, tell me, I pray thee, your name. And he said, wherefore is it that thou askest do after that my name? Hold up, wait a minute, stop, Jacob. You wrestling this thing? You asking for a blessing and you don't even know whose name it is? You don't even know his name? Or should I say, in whose name that it comes in? That's like fighting somebody. You don't even know the reason why you fighting them. But you know you want a blessing, though. I don't know who you is, but you got something I want, though. Don't you think the name of this angel, this messenger, or the name it came in is important? Right? Or maybe how they translated. Did he ask him, in whose name do you come? Why are you asking me in whose name I come? Tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And wait, let's read it again. And Jacob asked him and said, tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, wherefore is it that thou doest ask after my name? And he blessed him there. Oh, or did he curse him there? People may think, well, why should we are no, I ain't got we're Jacob. We're children of Jacob. But the upright ones, when they come into the new life of the Most High, their goal is to obtain and pursue and walk in uprightness. The power even the Messiah mentioned to us was over unclean spirits and heal all manner of sickness and disease. That's the power he gave us. Jacob was already strong. He was born with strength and power. His strength was by the Spirit. And by the Spirit, we conquer Esau. Here it is, don't get it twisted. Jacob definitely was not no lightweight, no featherweight. He was not nobody you could just. And then we know in cartoons they would draw pictures of Jacob looking like a little puny man made after the puny body of another kind of being. Now, this is something more you got to consider. Look at this here. It says, and Jacob called the name of the place Peniel. Do you understand that El was the chief deity of the Canaanites? So when he named that place Peniel, whatever, after El, do you understand that this place was a memorial place unto El? Look at the rest of the statues after this. Check this out. For I have seen the Most High face to face, and my life is preserved. He said he had seen the Most High face to face. Not only seen you, but wrestled with him. So at this point, and you prevailed against the Most High in the wrestling match. Do you understand the attitude of that? That sounds like Lucifer. I'll be like him. Lucifer's the one that wants to oppose the Most High. Ain't none of the children of the Most High wrestling with him. We wrestle against principalities and powers of high places. Powers, high places. We don't wrestle against flesh and blood. Clue. So if we're not wrestling against principalities, while we're wrestling, are we going to ask them for a blessing? If we're wrestling these principalities, if I've conquered, if I'm dealing with a principality of Persia, or if I'm dealing with a principality over addictions over my people, am I going to turn around and say, hey, now give me a blessing? Once I prevail against you, that my stance is the blessing. My prevailing is nowhere did guess what? Abraham was the one the Most High established the covenant with. Yet he didn't wrestle. Even when his name was changed, he didn't wrestle. When the Most High said it should no longer be called this, it was no longer called that. To this day, he's known as Abraham. Nobody says Abraham and Abram in the same sentence. The Most High doesn't say one thing and do another thing. He says it and it's done. Period. Even if it's Harry's, it's still done. Oh, here they go. We rebuke this disconnecting of the substance. We rebuke any hindrance to the connection in the name of Yeshua. You know what language plays around with the vowels, right? How many people today will see somebody spell shalom, shalom, or shalom in so many different ways? So many different transformations. And folks spell the name of the YHWH in different ways. So many transformations. Confusion. That's just really what it is. It's confusion. Because as I was reading Ezekiel 1 this rising, go with me to Ezekiel 1. Disruption. Let me get my other Bible. I got some notes too. Bear with me. I'll be right back. Rebuke in the name of Yeshua any hindrance or objection to the connection. No disturbances. No weapon formed against this connection shall prosper. All right, it's actually Ezekiel chapter 3. All right. Ezekiel 3. Verse 5, he says, "For you are not sent to a people of a strange speech and of a hard language, but to the house of Jacob." When it says house of, it's not a mentioning from the Most High as a split. It's not a mention of a split. When he says the house of, it's talking about the nation. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. Jacob was not the only one. I mean, the northern tribes were not the only ones in idolatry. The southern was too. You see that mentioned in the next chapter over. So he said it wasn't a hard language or a hard speech. So where about did this language come with this complication? We spoke a language that might have been different dialect, but it was still understandable. You can't say that for, like, I never took French, Spanish, even in the Spanish language, they can't even translate over to English. But when you come down to the Hebrew, what makes, I've even witnessed people say, questioning it, was this makes that sound, and this makes this sound, and this. So it's like, it's not what it sees, it's not what it is, it makes this sound. And okay, that's okay, so some alphabets are different than others, right? But a U makes a W sound. An I is also made, they say, is making a Y sound, or they pronounce a Y with an I, and also a J. They'll tell you there's no J's in the Hebrew. There's no J's in the Hebrew, but it's the sound that's been familiar. So maybe the ja makes the ha. Confusion. Mind you, the actual language that our ancestors spoke and was even identified by being was an Aramean language. Not because they're Arameans, but you got to think with the prophets, Daniel and them. Daniel's book was written in Aramaic. But they'll tell you in order to understand it, you got to learn Hebrew. They won't tell you you got to be filled with the Holy Spirit. No, they won't mention. I will not. You probably will not hear these language teachers tell you you need to be filled with the Holy Spirit. They're going to fill you with another spirit, actually. And they're going to make you think they're giving you a blessing when they're giving you a serpent language. Whoa, that's deep. That's big. Yeah. The enemy is deceiving and conniving. He wanted to be like the Most High. He didn't just steal the Most High story, but he wants you to see and perceive the word the way he wants to give it to you. This is why he told Eve that, oh, you'll be gods, plural. You'll be the ones that rule over my new religions. I'm going to bring some new gods on the scene. All I need is your authority. Once you give me your authority, you being made in the image of the Most High, I can bring my deception into the image of the Most High. I can bring my deception into the image. Let us make man in our image. The word is his image. The word is his image. So he tried to defile the word of the Most High, even down to the Pharisees. But that's why y'all should say, you shall rejoice because I go unto my Father. And what he did, and when the king went unto the Father, when the living word went unto the Father, you can't contaminate what is received to you by the Spirit of the Father. He will begin to open things up and show you. Look at this. Isaiah 44, as I just opened to it, verse 2. Thus saith Ahijah, that made thee and formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not. Why is he telling him not to fear? Because when he began to start giving things over and trying to be souping, cooning, and shucking and jiving for Esau, he was overtaken by fear. Even when he was in Laban's house, he said, hold up. I feared that you was going to take your daughters from me. I saw that too. I said, oh my goodness. It seems to me that our forefather Jacob had a struggling issue with fear. And where fear is, there's torment. And then you begin to start doubting the Most High. Then you begin to start thinking, is that him? And your perception is off. Shalom, family. It says, yes, it says his word is definitely more than what we is being taught. Bring it out. Hallelujah. Absolutely. Hey, Mr. Moon. Oh, the Father inside. Excuse me. The Father in me, I'm getting heated. The Holy Spirit inside of me is definitely the one on point. I am just his vessel, beloved. I understand what you're saying, Mr. Moon. All praise, glory, and honor, and esteem to the Most High. So verse 2 of Isaiah 44:2 says, he said, I formed thee from the womb. That means I chose you from the womb. This is why you were fighting in the womb. You think the selection and the election of the Most High's hand was upon Jacob in the womb? Yes. You got to think. What? Has anybody ever heard of babies fighting in the womb? Jacob was always the one wrestling against the wicked. That's what we do. Some don't seem right. Oh no, something is that. But the other nations, they uphold Esau. They want to be like Esau. They want to join Esau. Just as yesterday I was at the store, and it was an Asian lady checking out. This ain't no hatred. I'll just tell you how we peeping game. White lady was in line, and the white lady was taking some time. She's like, oh yes, okay. But she was just like really like happy to like probably lick the dirt off her feet. It came to me. I said, let's see if she do the same thing, right? Barely an acknowledgement, barely anything to say, other than your total was this, that, and the third. As I suspected. They see Esau and they get excited, like they want to do a dance. But understand this, brothers and sisters. Jacob, we ain't like that. But if we be led of fear, it will cause us to act like the profane. And fear ushers in the enemy. So when he was operating in fear, Angel was like, oh, wait a minute. Because the word also says he lightly esteemed the word. Enemy came walking over to him. If you don't see what you have as a blessing, allow me to bless you then. Because when our nation was going into these idolatrous acts, they were doing idolatrous acts to receive what? Blessings. They were sacrificing their children for blessings. They were fornicating and doing all kinds of wicked rituals for blessings. Easter. And everybody think when they go to church on Easter Sunday, well, at least I went to church. We thought when we was in that idolatrous acts, we thought we was being blessed. Did we not? Oh, things was happening. They're like, well, who was blessing us, y'all? Not everything you receive is of the Most High. Did that the word tell us to be wary and also cautious concerning receiving gifts, destroying the heart? Mental program to be like that toward us. Exactly. Unfortunately, I see us doing this toward them, but they don't know. We don't show that love toward one another. Right. That's another thing, sis. It's that wicked, stupid spirit, man. comes on our people and they just want to like do a dance. Like you got like Esau is somebody to prove something to. Or these other nations, they are nothing to prove to. Can't you see that over there in Genesis 30, is it 33? Where he wants to give all this stuff over to Esau. The Most High didn't tell him to do that. The Most High did not say, Jacob, I'm gonna need you to give this stuff to Esau so he can calm down a bit. That'll calm him down. Most High don't give a darn about nobody's anger at temper tantrum. He don't give a John Brown. You mad? Oh well. I made my selection. He said, I formed you from the womb, which will help you. He's not mentioning Esau in here. He says, fear not, O Jacob, my servant, and thou Jeshurun, whom I have chosen. Jeshurun means upright. They'll try to tell you it's a poetic word for Israel. No, it's not a poetic word for that. Don't let them lying fake Jewish people tell you, teach you nothing. Because their so-called blessing is a curse. They are liars, not only liars, blasphemous liars. And to speak a blasphemous lie is to speak directly in defiance and rebellion, contrary to the word of the Most High. Period. They thought we wasn't supposed to see this. Notice he called him Jeshurun here, but in Psalms 8:3 it says, I'm gonna wipe the nation said, I'm gonna wipe your name out for being a nation, right? Wipe out your name, which is character. Character of Jacob's supposed to be what? Upright. Our characteristics was uprightness. So they want to take away the characteristic of uprightness and present to us what? Little Nas's X, Cardi B's, Megan Stallions. All these characters is another form of I'm going to keep the remembrance of uprightness away from you. Because see, ISREL mentioned all up in this Bible. Ain't nobody forget about the name of ISREL. Yeah, people say, forget about the ISREL lights. Lights. Now listen to that part. Enlightened by who? ELRAISIS. Do not the Illuminati call themselves Illuminati? Who you think's enlightened them? Do you think the Most High is the light? He says in the scriptures, if your eye be dark, or if your eye be single. And basically what you got to understand is that if your light is based upon darkness, your light is not light. But this is what the enemy wanted to do to Eve. He said, don't you want to know good and evil? He captured the good was the wrapping of the evil sandwich inside. I want you to think I'm giving you evil, but I don't really want to give you good. I want to give you evil, but I'm going to decorate the evil that you're going to think is good. How about that, Eve? Can that work? Because I know all you ever knew was good. So it's going to be good. It's going to be good. But it's going to be evil, though, Eve. And you're going to be a god of evil. I need a female goddess. You trying to be that, Eve? And Eve was known for her act of what? Disobedience, defiance, letting the guard down. Was she the helpmeet that she was created to be at that point? No, she was not. Or any of these female deities teaching any of the daughters of Zion or any woman on this planet uprightness? No. That's what's all through the industry. Women wanting to be worshipped for what? Sex, defiancy, rebellion, haughtiness, high looks, forwardness, pride, arrogance. Gave her the false light. Knowledge, exactly, Sister Alexis Sojourner Truth. So, let's keep this in mind. The enemy's children, the serpent seed, their dad's like, hey, children, this is what works for them. When you're dealing with these beings, if they're spiritual, you're going to hit them with this. Tell them this is this is in the third. Another question. What other people in history of Earth has ever conquered a people, right? And mastered their language? We've always been the ones conquered, right? So is there any other people other than the Jewish people that know our language? Is there any other people that should be able to teach us our language? Okay, let's say Hebrew's our language. You mean to tell me our language has been wasted away? and you know our language more than us? When the word said he was giving our heritage to another people that's not a people, it wasn't talking about the language. Not even in that. Even in language, that's not where the truth lies. Don't forget Genesis 11, when he came down and confounded the languages. You have to understand this. But the enemy conquered by taking a language and teaching a language. So if the enemy conquered by taking a language and giving you a language, then if you want to find truth, he can also try to tell you truth is in the language. When truth is in the spirit of the Father, he said, and I will send you a comforter, even the spirit of truth. He didn't say a language of truth. He did not say a language of truth. And I may sound like I'm being rude, but because a lot of my people need to wake up. Stop sounding like the oppressors. You went from looking like the Englishman to now the Jewish man. You jumped out of the fire pan into the oven. That you're even playing the music of this wicked spirit. And the attributes and the characteristics behind that wicked spirit is not order. The Holy Spirit is of order, decency, and order. He's not overbearing. He's not excessive. He's not over the top. And that's what they are. They're trying to convince you so much of their lies. They're over the top. Oh, I know what you mean, beloved sister. She says they know the truth, but gave us religion, exact Christianity. And while we were being submersed in Christianity, they were busy tossing around, playing Sesame Street with vows and this and that and all this and the third. And making sure they crossed every T and dot every I and flipped around every U. So that when you came to because they knew we was going to wake up. But we woke up by how? The spirit of our Father breathing on us as he breathed on Adam. Once he breathed this Adam, then Adam became a living soul. But if you have not the breath of the Most High, you're not a living being. This is not a game, beloveds. It's not a game. Jeshurun, he said, I chosen you. Jeshurun, I formed you upright. They'll tell you name for Hebrew means character. Power is not, okay, it's an attribute, but power of what? Just because somebody is doing a sign doesn't mean I'm supposed to be, because the enemy, it says in the word that he shall do, deceive many by great signs and wonders. The enemy's going to do signs, because why? Yasha came. But he did works according to what? Him that sent him. His works was according to the word. The enemy's works are not in order with the word. They are to undo, to divide, to bring destruction to the attempt of what the word's all about. If the Most High knew that we was going to need his scripture to find our way back to him, to wake up, you mean to tell me it wouldn't meant any more to me? I would have woke up some more if I would have read it in another language. When I read it in English and it simply just told me the simple thing is keep my commandments and live. What I'm going to do then? Give credit to the language, or I'm going to give credit to the one who does the work, which is the workman, which is the Father of spirits, the living, true, and only above all, creator of heaven and earth. Say, nah, says we the Hebrew. Okay, all right, I understand. Okay. When Abraham was known, he was known as a just and righteous man. He wasn't known by them peoples. He was known by the works of the Most High that told him. He was known by his faith. So we would have been a people known by the character of what he called and formed us to be. When we stopped being that, we were a byword and a proverb and a reproach. Because you're supposed to be upright, but you're not being upright. That's why he said, take heed not to these gods around here. But whichever ones did, he knew which ones was operating in fear. And they're going to have to be shit. People think that the last days only going to be 2/3 perishing throughout every generation. Did we not hear about people perishing? The light of Yah through Shia helps us to unlock parts of our mind that we block. Yeah. So now we see the commandments in a whole new light. Right. We see the word in a whole new light, beloveds. I assure you that nothing I have ever, like this whole thing what I'm sharing with y'all about, it's like this. If you want to be titled, if you want to go by ISRL, okay, so be it. But how about Jeshurun though? Can you not? How many times, you know, Jeshurun's only mentioned in the Bible 4 times? And in those 4 times, it's a story that will show us. I'll show you right now. I've seen and I've watched the people who have the spirit of the fallen. I mean, the serpent seed. I've seen them. The scripture references that say Jeshurun. I ain't say Sharon. They tried it. Jeshurun in the Bible. I didn't say Joshua. Then on top of that, the Messiah's name is above all names. We've had a Joshua. His name wouldn't have been nothing nowhere near Joshua. We already had Joshua's. Would his name be Joshua if it's above all the names? It had to be a different name. They said even Jesus's or Jesus's or whatever. I'm gonna just do it off my memory. I know where it's at. I don't really need it. You got Deuteronomy chapter 33 and 32. Yeah. Isaiah 44, verse 2. Check it says, and here, verse 1 just shows you something. Look at this. Yet now hear, O Jacob, my servant, and why would you say and ISREL if Jacob is there? That sounds like you trying to add somebody. That sounds like the serpent is trying to add his seed into the inheritance of Jacob. That sounds like the wrath of Esau, mad because he couldn't get the portion and trying to find another way to get it. What do I mean? That's like me saying, come here to my daughter Zeba and my daughter. I don't need to say and my daughter. I would just say, come here, Zeba. Nobody does that. Yet, according to the angel, his name shall be called no more Jacob. But he always said to Moses, I am the keeper, the husbandman, provider of, the almighty of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He didn't mention no ISREL. The Most High did not ever say, I am the keeper of Abraham, Isaac, and ISREL. You know, he didn't say it. He didn't acknowledge that name change, in other words, just like he didn't acknowledge Ishmael and Esau. People, pay attention. It's time out. Either you're an I or you're a yes. But you still got IS on there. Would you just put a Y on there? That doesn't make any sense. So why you put that Y on there? Is it to reference the YHWH, the Tetragrammaton? Is that why? Because the YHWH stems out of the Canaanite. You look up Yahwisms, you look up the origins of these practices, which you should be doing. You should be doing that. That's how I came to the name of Ahia. I looked up the origins of these other names. And what I saw, I was like, oh no. Then somebody want to be like, y'all want to argue? No, I'm not arguing no name. I'm proclaiming it. I'm going to make that very clear with you. You already know what it is. You know it is Ahia, Esher, Ahia. But rebellion wants you to be stubborn, stiff-necked, and hard-headed. He told Moses one name. And he said, moreover, throughout their generations, this is what it's going to be. It ain't no, he didn't say no, YHWH. So understand, Psalms 91, when it says, and you know, which means you have established, it's not just a name you're saying, but you got knowledge behind it. You have substance behind it. You have a relationship behind it. That's my testimony. It is, beloved. But the heathen wanted to make it complicated for our people. That's the serpent's job. And upon whoever falls upon that trap, they prove themselves have never been loving the Most High in the first place. Who would not look up the origins of them doggone names? It's not hard. All you got to do is find out, where did this name come from? And you're going to find out that just Yahweh, his wife is Azaroth. So he must be the EL one. Family. Why do you think America's been referred to as Babylon? Is not all the practices of ancient wickedness, Rome, Greece, Persia, and Egypt here all in one? They got Greek customs, right? Yes, they do. They had Egyptian customs, right? Little Nas just showed you. They remember that time when they started coming out with all these Egyptian shirts, and I was like trying to figure out, what's the surge of all this Egypt reference coming from? Then they were calling on ISIS, was pretending to you that this gang, this mysterious gang named ISIS is doing all this nonsense. Well, who was really doing it? The ones that worship her. Their deity said, go shed some blood here. I need this, I need that. And they were doing it. And making you think it's a mysterious Muslim gang. Well, the Muslims worship Allah. And they reject the Son. So they worship something that rejects the word. And that is the serpent, the wicked one, the daggone devil. Got many calling off. Yes, still to this day. After Jacob's name is changed to ISR, the scripture goes back and forth between the two names. I noticed this. Does the Father go back and forth? Does the Father play around with himself? Is he dizzy? Does Father have bipolarness? No, he do not. Look at the name, y'all. Look at it. Look at that. Unholy Trinity. That's what it is. It's an unholy Trinity. We're called by whose name? The Most High's name. So he said, my people who are called by my name humble themselves. What made them be proud? Being called and walking after the ways of Satan. That's the nature and character. Name is character. So he said, my people humble themselves. That means my people are not acting after my way. And they're not called by my name no more. He said that when there was no strange God amongst you, Jacob, I was in the midst. Let's finish reading it. Let's go over to Deuteronomy 32. Let's get it. That's why the Jewish people, they never called themselves Israelites. They called themselves Israelis or Jewish people. And their state is called the state of, the monument of. They stole land, they conquered, stole identity, stole inheritance. Now, the only thing left for them to do is just give reference to the one they stole it by. Their power. They're the ones that got power with Satan over man. But they don't got power with children of the Most High. Oh no. Because see, power contends against power. It's the kingdom of light contending with the kingdom of darkness. We're not playing with them. Most High letting it be known. He has given power. Matthew chapter 10, verses 1, to his children over every evil spirit and healing any manner of sickness and disease. And they know what time it is. And they see which one. They see. When they see you, oh, that one's not the seed. Oh, okay. But this one's still calling me. So I can come over here and I can exalt EL over here. Who wants the character of those other who to this day you can look at and be like, well, that's our ancestors, boy. They still like our ancestors. Just even though it's Christianity, it's the same spirit. Because Christianity is filled with all the practices of the ancient nonsense. The Pope and them keeping Easter, Christmas. What does that stem to? Hello? Deuteronomy 32. Let's get it. 32, 15. Now notice it says here, let me get it in my other Bible. Now it says, and now this Bible says ISR, but I think my other one says Jacob. Well, let's just read for what it says. I'm not saying the name because the Bible also condemns us for speaking the names of these other deities. We're not supposed to say the names of other deities. But if we're recalled by one and say we're all this, what has it done? It has bounded us to speak not just one, not just two, but three unholy names. And when you say you are of that, you're enlightened by that, it will enlighten you. But if you're an upright one, Jeshurun, pure, and that's what Jeshurun upright means, straight, pure, something like Pashida, justified, upward, straight, not crooked, not perverse, not proud, not going off. And all through the word, all through the prophets, even David said, and I was upright before you. In other words, you made me this way, and I was what you made me to be. And Jacob grew fat and kicked. He became rich and mighty. He gained wealth. But then he forsook the Most High. Who made him? When can anybody find the story when Jacob forsook him? I'll tell you where. Genesis 32, 33. Forsook the Most High by forsaking his word, following after Esau, want Esau to be at peace with him. Most High didn't tell you to do that. And reviled the mighty one who had saved him. How did he revile him? Now, we see Deuteronomy 32, verse 15. Can anybody that wants to argue with my point, not saying y'all, anybody wants to contend and say, no, that was the angel of the Most High. Well, then can you find me somewhere in the Bible where he forsook the Most High and reviled the Most High and show me how he did that? Because I can tell you right now, he reviled him by building and naming that place after that deity. The earth is whose? The Father's. And what? The fullness. Where? Therein. Satan ain't got no territory he can say that. Well, guess what? Unless somebody give him authority, just like Adam and Eve, he gonna do what? He gonna take it. We don't give room. Children of the Most High, we don't give him no room. We're not giving him no authority. We're not giving him no space. We're not playing with him. Putting that image of falseness in the mind. Yeah, let me go back. She said, right, wearing hats, say they Christ. Said, yeah, those graven images, exactly. Let me go back. Oh, she said, that's why his name is above and glory belongs to his word and name. Get T.S. Many gates unlocking in the mind today. Ruach, have your way. Exactly, sis. That's what we got to say. We got, my mom told me, like we read on the Shabbat, we got to become dumb so he can lead. But learning something that man can teach you will not lead you to be dumb. It's going to fill you with the knowledge of man. Man tells you this, man tells you that. They provoked him to zealousness with strange gods. So that lets you know, after he forsook him, he started going after strange gods. And what the father does brings upon the consequence to the third and fourth generation. So when Jacob did that, what happened to the nation? They started going off. That was like a foundation set of a curse that we was going to eventually be drawn. We don't know why we were drawn to these other gods. We have a zeal for something. We don't know why we was sacrificing our babies to Molochs and all these other things. Because our forefather, Jacob, fought and wrestled with some fallen angel to receive a curse that he thought was a blessing. And by that, he forsook the Most High. And he lightly esteemed the Most High. That's good. Let's continue. They sacrificed to demons that were not gods, to gods whom they knew not, to new gods that were just made, whom your fathers had never worshipped. Talking about the children. But you forsook the mighty one who bore you, and you forgot. Now this one, y'all says esteem when you get to verse 18. But this one says, and you forgot the Most High who made you glorious. He made you glorious. It didn't say when I made you glorious, we was fighting, Jacob. Gee, Father. Now today, we wrestle against his spirit. Not me. I will not. But our people. They wrestle against his spirit when they rely on other ways to learn of him, rather than just hear of him. Seek his voice. Let him lead and guide us. And the highest saw it and was angry because his sons and daughters provoked him. And he said, I will turn away my face from them. I will see what their end will be. For they are a perverse generation, children in whom is no faith. Why did he mention no faith? Because Jacob was led to this by his fear. What did he say? And the fearful and unbelieving shall not inherit the kingdom. Because what's that fear going to lead them to? Okay, I'm tired of waiting on him. I'm going to just rely on my own. I'm going to just figure it out. I'm going to just give some stuff to my brother. I'm going to just give everything to Esau. Esau's like, no, why? Then Jacob, which was blessed, gave the blessing over to the Esau, which was accursed. And Esau gave over that which was accursed into the camp of Jacob. Yes, resist the enemy, he will flee. Wait, which names, what does the word start with? Okay, we were talking about verse when we was in Deuteronomy 32, verses 15. Yes, it says in here, Israel. But what I'm presenting to you all today is to show you, look, just pay attention to the encounter of when that name was changed. Here shows that you have no trust in exactly. And what he says, yep, he is lost on the throne, scared. Exactly. He is not on the throne and scared. Right. That's as if he's not. Exactly. And what you have to consider is that even after he wrestled him, look at what it says the children of Israel no longer do. Like, see if this is something genetically that you'd be like, okay. See if this makes any sense. Hold on. It says, verse 32, it says, that is why the children of Israel do not eat of the sinew of the hip, which is on the hollow of the thigh. Hold on, wait a minute, stop. What people eat sinews of hips anyway? You know what sinews are? It's muscle. What people eat muscle? So you don't eat the muscle, but you eat flesh? It's like I present to you a roast. Oh, let me think of something that has muscle in it. A turkey. And you say, I just don't eat the sinew. I would sure hope that you did. You didn't mention you didn't eat meat. So go ahead and eat the meat. I wouldn't expect you to eat any sinews. What is the magnificence of that? To say to us, therefore, the children of Israel do not eat sinews. What people on the planet eat sinews? That doesn't even make no sense. That does not make any sense. I tell you what, the synagogue of Satan, you do eat people. Stop. That's why you're joking and mocking about sacrificing children and then putting their bodies into meat places, slaughterhouses, and feeding them to the rest of the world because your sick behind's doing it. Queen Elizabeth and them don't have no normal diet. They're not eating normal food. I don't know why she's still here. Now, in the Aramaic, it says, verse 27 of Genesis 32, it says, and he said to him, what is your name? And he said, Jacob. And he said to him, your name shall no more be called Jacob, but Israel, the Prince of the Most High. For you have proved your strength wrestling with an angel and with man and have prevailed. Prove your strength? Where in the word of the Most High say, I'm going to need you to prove your strength? Who wants to try to test somebody for us to have to prove? It's always an opposing side that wants you to prove something, right? Let's see what you're working with. Let's see if you really deep. Let's see if you got discernment. Let's see if you wise. Let's see if you are a servant of the Most High. And what is the reason for that? Because they're unbelievers. They don't believe. What was the same spirit that was on the Pharisees when they was coming against Yahshua? They was opposing him because they were unbelievers. They had fear and torment because they were not made perfect in this love. Because they're from below, not above. And the word through the Spirit of the Most High didn't give it to them. Though they had the books, though they knew the language, the ancient language back then, they still knew not who it was who was amongst them. They still could not see the word. So language is not your reasoning on how you're going to learn him. Nicodemus knew the language, but yet Nicodemus could not see the kingdom. And they want me to believe once you learn this language, you're going to know. And Jacob asked him and said, tell me your name. And he said, why is it that you ask my name? And the angel blessed him there. Does the angel have authority? First of all, does the angel have authority over the Most High? But if it's an angel of the Most High doing what the Most High tell him to do, the Most High is as if the Most High did it. We can see the Most High did not put his signature on that name change because he told Moses, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He definitely did mention Jacob. So the angel said his name would no longer be. The Most High made that angel a whole liar. Now, if it's a lying angel, what angel could it have been? A fallen one that would wrestle against the Most High's child. Because he brought forth fear, and because of fear, it was hearkened to him. When you operate in faith, the Most High sends his ministering angels to minister to you. Right. Those ones, beloved. That's why I go Israel rather than saying it. And notice, it says in my Bible, in the Aramaic, Jacob wrestles an angel. But in KJV, it says man. Why in the KJV, John Brown word, did it tell you it's a man? Even Hosea 4:12 proves to you it was an angel. And it says, or 12:4, is it 12:4? Let me see. I meant to write that thing down because for some reason it's always hard to find this. The enemy tries to play me on that. Yeah, it says Hosea chapter 12 verses 4. Hosea chapter 12 verses 4. Yeah, he prevailed over the angel He made supplication to him. He found him in Bethel, and there he spoke with him. Prevailed against the angel, made supplication to him. To who? To the angel or to the Most High? And the Most High let him know, hey, I'll be with you. Don't fear. And I was with you when there was no strange God. So if you're wondering why I'm not with you, you need to re-examine what you got amongst you, Jacob. Get them gods away from you. Mm-hmm. This is verse 32 of Genesis 32. That is why the children of Israel do not eat of the sinew of the hip, which is the hollow of the thigh, to this day, because the angel touched the hollow of Jacob's thigh on the sinew of the thigh. That's what you call man-made up traditions. That's so made up. We don't eat sinews because you can't eat a sinew. You can't even chew it. How you gonna eat? What, you swallow it? How do you eat a sinew anyway? Make that make sense. And what people do eat sinews? As if them and the children, like as if they're the only ones on the earth that don't eat that. Like there's an exemption. They don't eat that. You know, we don't do raw meat and we don't do blood. That's what we don't do. Because that's in the Torah. See, that's backed up by Torah, but that's not backed by Torah. Father to tell us not to eat no sinews. We're not eating no sinews. Verse 33, and Jacob raised his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau was coming, and with him 400 men, and he divided the children among Leah, Rachel, and the two maids. So when it says he supped with them, he was talking to not the Most High, because it seems to hear that the instruction that was given to him was for him to give over to Esau. So that fallen one told him against the Most High, when your brother comes, you're going to give him some of your blessing. Because it even mentions in that chapter that Jacob looked at him and said, I see you as unto a God. He's seeing Esau as a God. That's idolatry. What people see the white man as God and then in turn worship their religion. Jesus, white man, God, the religion, falsehood, image of the beast. It's so sad, family. Because if the enemy wants to hide the name, if they hid the name for the Most High from us, don't think they didn't hide your name. We're called by his name. And the Most High is upright. The scripture that says, you are upright, Miss Most High. Let me get that scripture. Then I'm going to end this. Scripture that says the Most High is upright. Scripture that says God is upright. You got to say that. Now it wants to play stupid with me. Don't play stupid with me. It wants to give me a black screen. Come on, Google. Don't play with me. I know you listening to me. I know you hear me snitching on you and telling. It's going to be all right. Try to play with me now. Let's try Psalm 33. Psalm 33:1. And now another reason why the Most High helped me get this revelation is because when I looked up the origins of his name, I came to an understanding of, by getting this book in the back, it tells you pagan terms and why it's removed from this Bible, which is a Ahaya Bible. And it explains to you that the El is a Canaanite deity. And he commands us to not worship hand or gods. Deuteronomy 30, verse 17 through 19. We believe the El and Elohim are from the Babylonian and do not belong to the inspired scriptures. El is the same as BL, BAAL. So we use the YIL instead of 477. So this person also who wrote this Bible, I can tell they went from between Hebrew and also Aramaic. But even when the king, like I said in Mark 5, chapter 5, verse 41, when he spoke, now this family, he went to go help that little girl who was asleep. When you talk, like when you're around your loved ones or people that you really dear to, you speak a certain way with them, like, you know what I mean? Like you just have to talk with them. He told her Talitha Kumi. That's Aramaic. That's in almost every single Bible. He did not say anything that was Hebrew right there. So the king spoke to the little girl in Aramaic in the New Testament. Think about that. And they know that's why they brought you the Passion of the Christ, and he was on that cross speaking Aramaic. He wasn't speaking Hebrew. It said God is a Syrian or Canaanite deity of good luck or fortune. In Hebrew, it is written GD, but with Masoretic vowel pointing, it gives us GAD. Other scripture references to a similar deity, also written as GD, have a vowel pointing giving us GAWD or GOD or GAD. It's identified with Jupiter, the sky deity or sun deity. That's why in the KJV it's written GOD, because that's supposed to be representing. They talk about the sun deity. They worship on sun. Hey. But yeah, this Bible it says literally pagan terms removed. Is Josephus going to show you any pagan terms and why you shouldn't say certain pagan terms? Or are they going to encourage you to say ELs and all that other kind of stuff? And even tell you why AMEN and the end of your prayer is not good. Tells you about BAAL, BAALI, which is JEHOVH, the same thing. Talks about Easter, talks about church. It exposes the name JESUS. Why we don't say Holy Ghost, we say Holy Spirit. All that. Stop. And when I first came to the truth, I typed in the Bible. I typed in the internet. Is there any Bible that has no pagan terms? All pagan terms removed? And this is what I got. Psalms 33, verse 1. Let me see if this is it. No. It's a scripture that says, you, O Most High, are most upright. You are most upright. Let me try Psalm 7. Seven, 10. Okay, nope. They're trying to give it to me. It's just basically, it's a scripture that says the Most High is upright. So it goes to show you his character is uprightness. Okay, Psalms 92. Psalms 92. Let me click on that. It's a good thing to give thanks to the Most High and to sing praise to thy name, O Most High, to show thy forth thy loving kindness in the morning and thy goodness every night. Upon an instrument of 10 strings, and upon the upholstery, upon the harp with a solemn sound. For you, O Most High, has made me glad. Through thy work I will triumph in thy works of thy hands. Oh, let me see. Okay, verse 15. To show that Ahia is upright, he is my rock, and there is no unrighteousness in him. Most High is upright. What is his children? Upright. The humbleness of being called by the Father's name is to reflect his ways. It's not really a name that you're known by, like a popularity like thing. It's character. That's what the Son did. He came in the characteristics of the Father. That's what my banner's about. Bread of life. John 6:35, the light of the world. John 8:12. The door, John 10:9. The good shepherd, John 10:11. The resurrection, John 11:25. The way, the truth, and the life, John 14:6. The true vine. These are all the characteristics that the Son exhibit. And he said that John will testify of me, and they're all found in John. And before Abraham was, I am. The living, existing Almighty. If it's hard for you to receive him as who he is, there's an idol on your heart. You're going to have to pray. You're going to ask the Most High to remove it. It's quite simple. I didn't have, when I had to come to the knowledge of the name, and I used to say the YHWHs, I got to the point where I said, Father, just please show me. And when it came to me, I wasn't like, but I say this. It didn't make me know, never mind. I'm saying the matter. Look up the origins of the Tetragrammaton, and then you do the rest from there. He'll show you the rest. But the origins are where they originated from. That will leave you with no excuse. There's people that's been watching me for some time, and you heard me say some of this stuff, and you still choose to be defiant and rebellious, and it's showing on you, and you stick. And I wonder if you're at a reprobate state. I begin to wonder if you're even at the point where you're allowed to, or you're going to be capable. You've been watching me for some time. You know better. And some of them, I'm seeing some of y'all. One in particular, he's not afraid to say it. He's not afraid to say. He's coming to a place where he's not allowing the influence of people to influence him. And that's good. It don't matter. You're gonna have to make your mind up, beloved. You want to make your calling and election sure. Because his name is the key to know that he knows you. You know him. Because it's not just a name. He's gonna begin to show you. It's gonna be like a relationship is behind his character. He's gonna show you. His name's gonna show up. He's gonna show you how he is. His name. He's gonna show that to you. Literally, he's gonna show you. He's gonna be a door for you. He's gonna be bread of life for you. He's gonna be a good shepherd for you. But when you allow him to say, I am, that means you don't question that. He is able, and he can, and he will, and he shall. When someone says, I am, it ain't no negotiation there. But you have to allow, not loud, but will you? Are you going to allow him to show you who he is? Or would you rather just continue to be puffed up in your own knowledge and own understanding and stiff heartedness and have strange gods amongst you? Why? Because the popular crowd, look at the majority of those that say those names. And just pay attention. What kind of mess that goes behind it? It's a mess. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video. And I'm going to put these scriptures in the chat. I want my desire, most importantly, is that the people of the Most High be free from strange gods, from their selves, idolatry, disobedience. Do not allow yourself to speak the unclean and pollute his tables, defile his tables. He said, the priests have not known me. So our tables have always been taught us by hireling type, rebellious, stiff-necked people. And the reason that we have to come to truth is the reason why we have to understand we cannot disobey him. We cannot lean to our understanding. We cannot compromise. We got to do the way to come to the knowledge of the truth is by saying, okay, can you please take over? And he's gonna require you to search things out. Search out. Simple. Search out the ancient language. Search out just to prove to you, because once you realize it was really Aramaic and not Hebrew, but you see these fake frauds over here talking about Hebrew scriptures and Hebrew you look at them like you're still far from him. Because you'll see the Jewish people, they know Hebrew. But has that brought them closer to the Most High? Is it going to bring them closer to the Most High? No. And I don't care what kind of Hebrew it is they learn. I really don't care. That should have told you right then and there the Most High was going to not make his basis upon you knowing him was be upon language. Because anybody can learn a language, but anybody can come unto him. They have to be drawn by his spirit. And when Peter would say stuff and Yeshua would ask him questions, he would say, the Father revealed that to you. The Father reveals things to us, not language. Language just shows us understanding upon the language we speak. I learned that in Mark chapter 5, verses 41, saying, Talitha Kumi, which is rise young girl or raise up young lad or whatever. In Aramaic, just proved to be Hebrew's not where it's at. Even in the daggone New Testament, it was mentioned. Yes, beloved. Yeah, I'm getting ready to end it now. Good job, Princess. I'm proud of you. So, just remember a few things. The angel wrestled with Jacob. Jacob doesn't even know the name of this angel. So that would mean he doesn't know what name this angel came in either. But yet, he pursued to fight this angel for a blessing. That doesn't make sense. Secondly, he moved to fear, lightly esteemed the Most High's word. Thirdly, after encountering that angel, he's then instructed, he's moving by giving over his blessings to Esau and receiving the cursings from Esau. That doesn't make sense. Then it mentions, the children of so-and-so no longer eat sea. Oh, they don't eat sea news. The reason they don't eat sea news is because the angel touched the hollow. If the angel didn't touch the hollow, you mean to tell me you would have been eating sea news? That doesn't make sense. And also, last but not least, please look up the origins of these things that you're calling upon. Look at where they originated from. The Bible clearly tells us in every single Bible that you find, he stated to Moses, I am that I am. When he asked him, what is your name? And what shall I tell the people so they will know? It told Moses, I am that I am. Then they knew him by that. They weren't calling on nobody's YHWHs. You can add extravaganza and hula to it all you want to. And all you're simply doing is making the enemy wink at you. Aren't you tired of making the enemy wink Aren't you tired of praising the devil? Aren't you tired of calling on the wicked one? Aren't you tired of being called by the wicked one? When the Most High comes back, the angels ain't taking no rebellious ones with them. No. And we know that only a remnant will be saved. Is there a remnant that goes by, I am that I am? Or you do a summary and look and see how many are calling on YHWH, not just of our people, but of the synagogue of Satan. They're calling on that name too. Now, should we be calling on the same name the synagogue of Satan is calling on? Does that make any sense? No, it does not. You say, well, they stole. No, what they stole was your identity to be a priestly nation, a holy priest. We're not just royal, we're a royal priesthood. Don't get it twisted. Some people be like, yeah, we royal. You ain't royal if you ain't walking in the priestlyhood. You ain't royal if you're not walking in righteousness according to obedience. If you're rebellious, if you're stiff-necked, you're a peasant and you need to get in order. That's the bottom line. Like it or love it, hate me or love me, it's going to be okay. I pray that your heart is able to receive truth at the end of the day. That's just what it's about. It's about truth. It's not about you liking me, being my friend, or supporting me. I'm not here for you. I'm here to do my Father's business. And if you receive the word, according to my testimony, you're receiving him that sent me. If you don't, so be it. I'm not profiting off of this, and I'm not losing from it either. Love you all. Peace and blessings. Have a wonderful day. And please do research on the origins of these names.